Hello students, now I'll explain you subroutines. Subroutine is basically, it is a small program, it is group of instruction stored as a separate program in the memory, and it can be called again and again in our main program. For example, I have given you an example of traffic light at the end of this topic. Just go through it. Now in case of traffic light system, we are having green light, yellow light, red light, and it repeats itself after a delay of few seconds. Now if the program is repeating after few seconds, that means we have to write again and again the program of getting red light, program of getting yellow light, or program of getting green light. So we have to repeat the program. The program becomes too lengthy. So to reduce the length of the program, what we have an option, we write a subroutine. Subroutine is basically, it is a small program. For example, we will write it for a green signal. For example, for 15 seconds we are having our green signal. So for green signal, we write a 15-second delay program, and this delay program can be stored in some memory location, and whenever we require that green signal program, we come to that memory location, execute that program, use that subroutine, and after executing that program, we will come to our main program. So just see this diagram to understand the program flow of subroutine. Now in this diagram, the main program, we are writing a main program by initiating a stack pointer. Now we will write our instructions as we are using in our main program. After that, what we will do, if a small group of instruction is repeating itself, for example an addition program. Now if we have to add again and again two numbers, we will just write it separately as a subroutine. Now in the main program, we will call that subroutine. After calling that subroutine, our program counter will be shifted to that subroutine. After shifting our program counter, it will execute this program, and there is an instruction to end this small program. The instruction is return, R-E-T. Now return instruction, what this instruction will do, it will get back our program counter, and we will come to the next instruction, that is after the call instruction. So we will move back towards our main program. So from the main program, we can move to and fro from one subroutine to another subroutine, and we will come back to our main program as such. So we can use a subroutine as much time as we want in our main program just by using a call instruction. So whenever we use a call instruction, it has to save the program counter content, and after saving the program counter content, it will again load the program counter content with a new subroutine program counter address. Now after that, now this program counter would be loaded with the program counter would be loaded to the address of subroutine, and after that execution will done, and whenever there we have to end the subroutine, we will use return instruction. And return, what return will do, return will retrieve back the program counter that is prescribed for the next instruction and comes back to our main program. Now by loading the program counter and by retrieving back the program counter, microprocessor takes some time. If the time is more as in comparison with the subroutine, we will not prefer using subroutine. Now after that, we will prefer macro. Now macro in a program, in macro, the assembler is used. What assembler will do, the assembler will insert the defined group of instruction, that is a small group, in place of call. Whenever macro is called, that defined group of instruction is installed by the assembler itself. An important point to be noted here, the assembler generates machine codes for the group of instruction each time the macro is called. So for that, the overhead time involved in the calling and returning back to the subroutine, it is a boon for a subroutine. Now we can use macro over subroutine. Now there is a disadvantage advantage of using a macro is that it generates a line code each time when the macro is called. So it takes more memory. So in subroutine, if you have to make a small note on subroutine, what you have to give, you have to just draw this, diagram, you have to explain the diagram, you have to give the small concept of macro in that, and after that you will show with the help of a small program. Let us write this program. In this program, this is the main program, and at 6010 address we are using a call instruction. Now call delay, we can give the title of the delay, or we can directly give the address of the delay. So we can give the title, or we give the address. So if we give the address of the delay, call 6500. So what will call instruction do? Call will save the address 6013 in some temporary memory storage, and after saving this address, the program counter is now loaded with the address which is being called. So 6500 is the new address of the program counter. So program counter now is loaded with 6500. Now the execution of instructions would be this: MVIC, decrement C, jump instruction, and whenever this return comes, what will this return do? It will return back to our 6013. Now how it will return to our 6013? This is the purpose of using return. Whenever we write return, it will retrieve back the saved memory location that is temporarily stored in the stack. So in subroutine we use the concept of stack also. Now this is the diagram that I am going to explain you now. Now in this diagram, just see here, we are dealing with the execution of call and return instruction. Now before the call instruction, as we have seen in the program counter is loaded with the address of 6010, and after that call instruction is written here 6010. Call instruction is a 3-byte instruction. So the next instruction of the main program is written at 6013. So the next program counter address is now loaded in the stack pointer. Now here stack pointer is giving the address of 3000. Now how we load the address? Just like push instruction. At 3000 we will decrement our stack, we will load our higher byte, and then we will decrement again and give our or store our higher byte. So 6013, that is the next instruction program counter or next instruction address. It is temporarily stored in the stack. Now after that, after the call instruction, the new program counter address would be the call address. So 6500 would be loaded at program counter. Program counter will move to 6500. Execution starts from 6500, and when return comes, this is the return instruction. When return comes, it will retrieve back from the stack the stored address. Now how it will retrieve back? Just like pop instruction. It will retrieve first of all 13 and then increment the stack, and then it will retrieve 60 and then increment the stack. Now our stack pointer again becomes 3000. So before call it was 3000, and after return it will again become 3000. So this is the usage of stack in subroutine using call and return. Now I will explain you individually the call instruction and the return instruction. Now after having the concept of push instruction, it will be more clearer to you the concept of call instruction. Call will unconditionally jumps our program counter to a small program known as subroutine, starting with the address just given by this call address. Now stack pointer, now here program counter, higher byte of the program counter, Now higher byte of the program counter is the decremented content of stack pointer, and lower byte of the program counter is stored in the again decremented position of the stack pointer. So that is how we store our address of program counter. So this program counter is loaded in the stack just like push instruction, and after that stack pointer is decremented twice. So this is our new stack pointer. Now after that the address is being loaded to the program counter just like jump instruction. So program counter now is loaded with the new address, just like jump it will now execute to start execution to a fresh new address. Now it is a 3 byte instruction as we can see call 16-bit address. Call gives the opcode fetch, then we are using 16-bit address, 8-bit will get 1 byte and the next 8-bit will give us second byte. So total of 3 bytes. So it is used as 3 byte instruction. Now if we see the addressing mode, it is using the it is using basically the stack. Now stack, whenever stack related instructions are there, we are using register indirect addressing mode, but in this we are immediately loading the address to our program counter also. So it is again immediate addressing mode also. So the total addressing mode is immediate, register, indirect addressing mode. Now this is the example given here, call 6003. Now in this what happens to 6003? Now here program counter is 6000. This is 6000, stack pointer is 3000. This is the stack. Now if we call 2000, what will happen? Program counters will be changed to 2000. Stack pointer is decremented twice, so it would be equal to 2FFE. Now how it is twice? Because it has to store the next program counter address. Next program counter address would be 6000 plus 3, because it is a 3 byte instruction. So 6003. So 6003 is stored here. First the higher byte and then the lower byte. So in this way the call instruction takes place. Now the return instruction, the opposite of call instruction is return instruction. Now in return instruction we will pop up or we can retrieve our address of program counter back from the stack, just like pop instruction. Now here you can see we are taking back our program lower byte of the program counter, then the higher byte of the program counter, and our new stack pointer is incremented twice. Now this is return instruction is not given any address, because it will automatically retrieve back our address. So return is a 1 byte instruction, and in this, just like pop instruction, it is registered indirect addressing mode. Now if we use this example to explain retrieve instruction or this return instruction, what is there? If 6200 is the program counter address, now 6200 is the program counter address. Now 6200 can be retrieved back from the stack pointer. Now this 6200 can be retrieved back from the stack pointer, and new stack pointer would be 27FF. Also we are having conditional call and conditional return instruction, just like conditional jump instruction. Now the conditions are depending upon the flag register. Call on carry, call on not carry. Call on carry means when carry flag is 1. Whenever condition is satisfied, the call instruction takes place. If the condition is not valid or not satisfied, the call would not take place. The program counter will be just incremented. Now next is CNC, call on not carry. It will call when the carry flag is 0. CP, call on positive when sign flag is 0. CM colon minus when sign flag is 1. CPE colon parity even, that means when parity flag is 1. CPO colon parity odd when parity flag is 0. CAZ colon 0, that means whenever 0 flag is 1, this call will take place. CNZ colon not 0, Z is equal to 0. So we similarly we are having return instruction R, CR and CRP, so on up to R and Z. Now, if we see the timing diagram of call instruction, you can see now in call instruction what is going to happen here. We are taking the upcode fetch because it is taking time to take out the memory address of stack pointer and then save the program counter to some memory address, and then it will put the address back to the program counter. So it takes time for the call. It is very important timing diagram in for the examination point of view. Now for the upcode fetch, it is having 6 T states. T1 to T6 are basically upcode fetch, that you know, and after that you have to see how many bytes instruction is it. It is 3 byte instruction. So the next 2 bytes would be the memory read to just read the address, the 16-bit address. To read that 16-bit address, microprocessor has to use two machine cycles, that are memory read and memory read. So these two machine cycles are used to read the address where the call has to take place. So the address of the subroutine is being used in memory read and memory read. Now microprocessor, now it has read all the call instruction. Now the operation of call instruction. Now in the operation of call instruction, what happens? It has to move the existing program counter to push to stack. So whenever microprocessor send the data to the stack, it has to use machine cycle, that is memory write. So memory write would take place here. Now it will use two memory writes because we have to push the address, and address is 16 bits. So for 16 bits we have to use two memory writes. So this is what it has written here, two memory writes. So for call instruction we are having upcode fetch, two memory read and two memory write. After that, program counter will be automatically loaded with the new call instruction address, which has already been read by microprocessor by two memory read cycles. Now if the condition, this is for this timing diagram is for call and conditional call instruction when the condition is satisfied. Now when the condition is not satisfied, it will take up only upcode fetch and first memory read just to check. It will go to first memory read just to check the flag, the status of the flag. If it checks that status of the flag does not meet with the given condition, then the condition is invalid and it will not move ahead. The program counter is just loaded with the program counter plus 2. Now next is return instruction. In return instruction we are having only 1 byte. So upcode fetch is only for the 1 byte. So 4 T states of upcode fetch is only for the 1 byte return instruction. After that it has to fetch the program counter data or address from the stack memory. Now whenever it retrieve back, just like pop instruction, whenever it retrieve back the address, it has to read the data. So two memory read cycles are there in in return instruction. This is for the return instruction, and conditional return instruction if the condition is valid. Now if the condition is not valid, it will use upcode fetch of 60 states. Only upcode fetch of 60 states. So this is for the condition if the condition is invalid. Now this is all about the call and return instruction and the subroutines. Now this is the problem that I have already explained to you. Whenever we have to use traffic signal light controller, it uses subroutine and it uses delay instruction. These are the different delays of green, yellow, red, walk, don't walk. So these are the different delays. Now using these delays time and time again repetitively, we can use the subroutine here. This is the flow chart of subroutine. You can go through this. Now after that, it has been left that we are left with the subroutine types and we are left with the passing parameters. I will explain that to you tomorrow. Okay.